Hello, my name's Gavin. This is Genre Books. It's not a Tuesday, but I'm doing a tag. This is the Victorian Literature Journey Tag. I wanted to fit this in whilst Victober was still a thing. This tag is a version of the Shakespeare Journey Tag and was adapted by Scallydandling About the Books and Tilly's Shelf, both of which I will link below. I have not made any notes for this, and as it is an adaptation of the Shakespeare Journey Tag, I've pulled up my old notes for the Shakespeare Journey Tag and will try to remember what the questions were. Prompt number 1. What was your first experience reading Victorian literature and what was it like? I don't think I knew it was Victorian literature or would have known what Victorian literature was had I known that. I don't know which of these I read first. I read them both in the same year. There was an abridged version of Charles Dickens' David Copperfield, and I think also an abridged version, or certainly one for children, of King Solomon's Mines by H. Rider Haggard. So I would have been 8, 7 or 8, probably 8, when I read these. And I think I read King Solomon's Mines more than once. And what did I think of them? I liked both of them. I think I loved King Solomon's Mines. I remember reading that more than once. And I did have plans to reread it this October and did not get round to it, but I think I might read it anyway in the next couple of months because it's been a while, more than a while. Prompt number 2. Has the reading of a Victorian book ever brought you to tears? No, I don't think it has. Probably just says something more about me than it does about the literature. Has an adaptation of Victorian literature ever brought me to tears? Yes. Prompt number 3. Are there any people who have played a significant role in your Victorian literature journey? Yes, and I think it's not surprising that it's a teacher. We read a little Victorian literature at GCSE level. I remember reading some Thomas Hardy short stories. I think The Withered Arm and The Melancholy Hussar of the Russian Legion. That didn't really grab me. I liked them, but I think the first point was it was crystallised that, okay, this is what Victorian literature is, was at sixth form. And again, Dickens to begin with, Hard Times. And then possibly my favourite Victorian book, Vanity Fair. So, thank you to Mr. Collier and Mr. Baisley. Prompt number 4. Do you have a favourite film adaptation of a Victorian book? I've got 2 answers for this. One, if I'm allowed to cheat, and I think I should be allowed to cheat. The War of the Worlds by H.G. Wells is Victorian literature, so 1895 to 97 that was written. And my favourite adaptation of that is the 1950s George Powell Technicolor War of the Worlds. Absolutely love that film. I don't think it's been done better. I think they should also stop doing it because people are always trying to adapt War of the Worlds. Just stop it. If I'm not allowed to choose a 1950s retelling of the War of the Worlds as a Cold War analogy, then I would choose Far from the Madding Crowd. Terence Stamp, Judy Christie, directed by John Schlesinger. That film is just brilliant. Prompt number 5. Which character from Victorian literature most resembles you and in what ways? Normally I would struggle with this because But someone told me this week, definitely, I was reminiscent of this character. I haven't finished the book yet, so I don't know whether this is a good or a bad thing. But I'm reading 2 chapters a week in following the original publication span of time, No Name by Wilkie Collins. And I'm actually doing that for one of the Victober prompts, which was to read Wilkie Collins or Arthur Conan Doyle. My wife is also reading No Name in that publication order, and told me when she read about Mr. Clare, that was definitely me. Someone surrounded by their books, and yeah. Prompt number 6. Do you have a favourite moment, scene, or line from Victorian literature? I think when Pip first meets Miss Havisham in Great Expectations, that's a great scene. The spookiness is there. The whole decayed gothic feel of it, and also the terror of a young boy, is brilliantly depicted. And as the reader, we're getting the whole story about why she is like this, all of which is completely unknown to Pip, and he just has the sheer terror of this scary old woman who he's been presented to. Does any Victorian literature intimidate you? If yes, which and why? I would say plenty. Some of it because it is just so monolithic. I don't quite know where to start with Anthony Trollope. I've not read any Anthony Trollope. I really want to. And there's no reason I shouldn't. But knowing that I'm going to be embarking on a massive series is a little intimidating. From intimidating in length to possibly intimidating in complexity, you have someone like Henry James. Now, I've read some Henry James, not a lot, but I have read some. And that can be quite daunting in just the complexity of the writing. Rewarding as well, and I do enjoy it once I get into it, but I'm rarely excited, enthused enough to go, today I want to read some Henry James. Is that intimidating, or is it just laziness? Prompt 8. Is it 8? I've forgotten where we got up to now. But what tips would you give to a reader who is early on in their Victorian literature journey? Just read what you want. Don't feel beholden to read the Victorian canon, the top 10 Victorian works. There's a lot of Victorian literature. If you have a favourite genre, there's going to be something there. Read something lighter. There's Victorian humour. It's not always funny, but there is Victorian humour. There's certainly horror. There is speculative fiction. There's family drama. There is sensationalist fiction. Read some misery literature. Read an adventure book. Read some short stories from the periodicals of the time. There's plenty to get your teeth into. Just start with a genre that you're comfortable with, and you'll learn that Victorian literature is nothing to be scared of. So forget everything I just said about Anthony Trollope or Henry James. Final prompt number 9. What is your favourite Victorian literature and why? I'm going to go with Vanity Fair, because I think it's just fantastic. It has humour, it has story, it has scope, it has historical breadth, and it has just such a wry eye for things, and also one of the most engaging heroines in literature in Becky Sharp. I didn't do the group read. I'm slightly regretting not doing that group read. it is definitely one I want to come to again, and I will do at some point. The last prompt was to tag other people. Now this tag I know is already a year old, and I'm thinking that most people, even if they didn't do it last year, have probably already done it this year. I will possibly tag some people below. And until next time,